Hey, my name is Rich Kuchman with Strategic Self-Reliance and Defense, and in today's short video, I'm going to talk to you about primary assessment. Right? Primary assessment out of the Wilderness First Aid program or the EMT program. It's the same approach. Today's just the intro. I'm going to cover this in a series of videos, so we cover the entire primary assessment, and then later we'll cover secondary assessment. All right. So let's first talk about what is assessment. Assessment is just gathering data. You're gathering data about a victim, in this case, a trauma victim, because we want to determine what could be wrong, what's potentially wrong with this person. So, as you guys probably know, when we gather data, our assessment process consists of gathering subjective data and objective data. Subjective are things that the patient tells you, things that you can't validate yourself, right? My head hurts. You don't know their head hurts. You know it because they tell you. Right? Objective data is the things you can see, feel, hear, okay? Smell. Those are objective data points. Right? So our assessment incorporates both of those. Right? But before we get really kicked off with the primary assessment here, let's talk about the basics. Scene safety, right? You have to be safe as a provider. You cannot throw yourself into a dangerous environment and become a victim yourself because you're not helping the patient and you're just making it more complicated for everybody else. So scene safety is paramount. If the scene is unsafe, do not enter. If it becomes unsafe, get out. Right? Simple stuff. Takes a couple seconds before you rush in. Right? Talk about general impression. Again, before you rush in, stand back for a second and take the whole scene in. What do you see? How many victims are there? Are they awake? Are they unconscious? Are they bleeding? Are they missing limbs? Are they burnt? Right? They wander around aimlessly. What else is around them? Motorcycle, a burning vehicle, a burnt running chainsaw, those kinds of things. Right? That's general impression. Okay? Talk a little bit about what is the primary assessment. Again, this video is going to be a short one because we're going to get into the actual approach in the series of videos. I should mention mechanism of injury. You'll hear that term, mechanism of injury, MOI. That's just what happened. What physical force was exerted on the body to cause the trauma. Okay? MOI. The mechanism of injury could be a fall down a flight of stairs. Somebody fell off the roof. Mechanism of injury. They were shot by a high velocity rifle round. They were stabbed, right, or hit with a blunt object. Whatever the mechanism of injury. Physical force exerted upon the bodies would cause the trauma, right? So the MOI is simply that. Significant MOI, right, falls from greater than 3 feet. Motor vehicle accidents, head injuries, certain types of MOI will lead you to believe or treat the victim as if they have you basically treat them as if they have a serious injury before you really know just because the MOI is such that they likely do have a serious injury. They might not, they might have got real lucky, but you treat them as if they do, based on MOI. All right, so that's enough about MOI. All right, so remember, when you approach that patient, make sure you talk to them, okay? Don't rush up and just start manhandling somebody. Introduce yourself. Hey, my name's Rich. I'm a ER and trauma nurse. I'm going to help you. It looks like you got injured. Is it all right if I touch you? Okay? Simple, short and sweet. Tell them who you are, why you're qualified in a nutshell, and what you're going to do. Kind of ask permission if you can. Relegated to the barn today. Wife's working in the house. But it's nice. I can have my Romeo and Julieta Rona, hang out with the cats, barn cats, drink my beer. I'm talking to y'all. Pickle Meadow, if anybody knows where that is. And peanut butter stout, homemade, 9%. All right, so anyway, we assess people because we want to know what are the problems. And when we're talking trauma, we're talking about what are the life-threatening problems. Primary assessment, or what they'll call the initial assessment, is all about identifying very quickly life-threatening problems, right? Airway problems, bleeding problems, breathing problems, problems with circulation, those kinds of things. We're going to talk about all those one at a time, right? The primary assessment normally takes seconds, right? You're talking down and dirty fast, right? You find something wrong, you got to fix it before you can move on, right? So there's a problem with A, airway. You can't move on to B, breathing. You got to fix that airway problem, then you can move on. So the assessment itself, in a perfect situation, goes quickly. But know that you might be stalled along the way because you got to fix things. We talk about the secondary assessment. We'll talk about that in a future video. Just know that you might never get to the secondary assessment. If you're doing CPR on somebody, that's all still primary assessment stuff. That's still interventions within the primary assessment. You never made it to the secondary assessment, right? And that's okay. There's no sense moving on until you fix the problems that you have, right? All right. And we're gonna talk about each of these individually in future videos. So please watch. Again, you can join me here in my barn. And next video, we're going to start the mnemonic ABCDE, and that's the primary assessment. So thanks for watching. Come on back. I hope to see you in training. Again, I'm Rich Cushman of Strategic Self-Reliance and Defense.